while Jesus was on the way where? To Jairus' house. The crowd followed, they pushed against him, and that's when a woman who had been subject to bleeding for 12 years, she reached out and touched the hem of his garment, the edge of his cloak, the end of his robe. Doesn't say she touched Jesus. What did she touch? The hem of his robe. Okay? Who touched me? Master, come on. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of people touching you. Let's be honest here. There's a bunch of people pushing against you. I don't think it was anything at all. He said, no. Someone touched me because I felt power leave me. Embarrassed and fearful, the woman confessed. She explained her condition, and then she told him of her miraculous healing. She said she was healed. And Jesus responded in front of everyone, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace." End of story, right? Not really. There's a lot more going on in this story. Only a few verses long, and we often overlook it because we're not Jewish, okay? We're not familiar with the customs of the day. And we don't exactly know what this woman's affliction was. It doesn't say, subject to bleeding, but it sounds like endometriosis, which causes tissue to form outside of the uterus, and that tissue then sheds and bleeds. Now, remember, according to Jewish laws and customs, this woman would have been considered unclean. Can't go to the synagogue to worship. Can't go to the temple to worship. And if she was unmarried, men wouldn't have wanted her for a wife. Why? Unclean. Which in those days would have meant what? She was most likely left to fend for herself and would have been somewhat destitute. And her condition would have also been very painful. And if it was endometriosis, it doesn't get better over time, it gets worse. So it would have made just the daily functions of life for this woman painful and difficult. And she had tried everything. No doctor could heal her. Jesus was her last hope. I'm also sure that she would have carried her shame with her. Shame of what? Unclean. Everywhere she went. She would have been embarrassed to be in public. She would have been embarrassed to encounter Jesus in public. And a Jewish audience, hearing this story or witnessing this story, they would have gasped at an unclean woman. The audacity of an unclean woman to even touch the hem of a rabbi or priest robe. Not even worth touching the dirt on the bottom of the robe. And they would have expected Jesus to respond how? With righteous indignation. But instead, he responded with grace and compassion. And he called her daughter. Your faith has healed you. Go in peace. Another important detail that we miss